I love animation, but I have a job not related to animation and it takes all of my energy. Do you have any advice to find that extra time for me to do and practice what I love? That's a really good question and something I still struggle with. I have that problem right now actually where I have a very busy schedule. I've got a lot of things that I have to do each week. A lot of times I'm not doing animation work with the current project I'm working on. It's a video editing, things like that, which I still do love. But I would love to do more animation. I would love to do drawing. I want to draw more. That's one of my big, like, this year I want to start just drawing. Where do I find the time? I, I'm busy all day, and then when I'm not busy, I want to rest. I want to sleep. I want to eat. I need to eat at some point. Um, so where do you find that motivation? Where do you find that time? How do you do it? Well, when I figure it out, I'll tell you. Uh, I'm still trying to figure it out. But some of the things that I try to do is I set some time every night to just do a little something. It can be just like sit down and do a quick animation test. Sit down and just analyze some animation. It doesn't have to be a big project. As long as you're progressing your learning and trying to learn something specific, that's the important thing. If you're just sitting down and doodling, that's not going to be as interesting or as helpful, I should say. So, for example, what I mean by doodling is, let's go kind of to a 2D example. If I sit down and I want to learn how to draw, I can't just sit down, even if it's just half an hour, I can't sit down and just go, okay, I'm going to draw. Okay, draw a character and not paying attention. Oh, what's on Twitter? Okay, and I'm just drawing and I'm not paying attention. Because at the end of the day, what have I learned? What have I created and what have I pushed myself to do after all of that? I don't know, because I've just been paying attention to other things and not really paying attention to what I have done. So instead, sit down and give yourself a goal. I'm going to focus on gesture drawing and understanding my limitations in gesture drawing. So I might go in, open a gesture drawing site, and okay, I'm going to do some gesture drawing, do a few quick ones. And then very quickly, even in half an hour, where are my weak points? So let's actually do an example of this. So I'm going to open up a gesture drawing website. And this applies to animation. It's the same thing. So animation wise, you would, okay, I want to try and animate a smile. Okay, take some time, animate a quick smile. Don't worry about the rest. Just animate this. And then figure out what your weaknesses are. And Just V, thank you so much for the sub. Hello, hope you're doing well. Aw, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So it's giving yourself these quick little things to study. So let's actually, I'm opening up lineofaction.com here. For anyone who wants to do gesture drawing, I love this site. There's a few other ones, but this one is really, really nice. So let's do all model, no, actually covered models, so I don't get a strike against me on Twitch. And doesn't matter the ages. And we're going to do that. Okay. So get drawing. There we go. And what I like about this is you can actually pause this site and still draw, which is really nice. So let's set this up here so I can see both. Okay. So let's say I want to improve my gesture drawing, or I want to start drawing, and I'm going to set my time. I have half an hour today. I'm going to do some gesture drawing. Okay. I'll split that time up into segments. So I might do some gesture drawing for 10, maybe 15 minutes. Let's just do a quick one here. So just do a quick gesture. We try to get that line of action in there, that weight into that leg here. The other leg comes up there. And then the arm. Now, of course, you'd be timed with this. It wouldn't just be like I'm doing here, where it's just taking all the time in the world I want. So you go through and do what you need here. Okay, let's say we've got that. Great. So you do a whole bunch of them. Now, before you call it a day, in that time you had to yourself, go through and figure out, what did I do wrong? So I usually, like, if I'm doing drawing, I'll put it in red. And okay, what did I do wrong here? Well, look at the balance of my character. If you look at the top of the head, down, straight, see how everything is in line? Look at here. If you look at the top of the head and do a straight line down, top of her head is over her shoulder. Top of the head down goes down to the hip. If I look at kind of the neck, that is lined up with the hips, but it's still a little bit over to the side. If I look at here, it's on the wrong side. So my character is slanted the wrong way. They're rotated too far this way. Hey, John! Hello! Hey, hope you're doing well. And thank you so much for the sub. I really appreciate that. 12 months, a whole year. Geez, thank you so much. Aw, thank you so much. So, yeah, so you're going through and you're figuring out, what am I doing wrong? What could I do better? So, for example, here, I'm not really feeling that depth of the leg. So how can I push that? Well, I'll do a quick little draw over, take my time with it. So I might try to kind of figure out, okay, there's the anatomy of the leg, and I want this feeling of depth to that leg right here. Not just a flat little piece, but we need to feel the actual mass. Same thing with drawing. Or sorry, same thing with animation. Once you animate it, figure out, what can I do to make this better? Next time I approach this, what are the things that I'm missing? So the hips would have to be wider here. So you just do that. So this is one way of improving yourself without having to put a ton of time working on large projects. So you do that with animation, you do that with whatever it is that you're trying to learn. You're doing a very structured approach. The other thing you can do is try to give yourself challenges to do. So these small things, like someone mentioned, doing the 11-second club. It's just a little thing that, okay, you've got a set deadline and I'm going to work on this quick project, and there's no big end goal. If I fail, at least I learned. But it gives you that motivation to keep going. It's, to me at least, it's enjoying the small projects versus always trying to push yourself to do big projects. This is the biggest area where I feel like a lot of people burn out when, for example, you're busy with work and life is hectic and you've got all of these things, responsibilities, and you want to learn this thing, you want to keep going with this thing you're passionate about. And we keep trying to do these big projects. We keep trying to, okay, I'm going to animate something and it's going to be a 600 frame shot with 2 character dialogue and all of this crazy stuff in it with constraints, and it's going to be all this amazing big stuff. Where are you going to find the time to do that? Not only that, if it ends up not working out, let's say you're animating and halfway through you realize, ugh, this animation, I didn't do a great job on this animation. Now you have the choice of trying to continue with this thing that's not quite working out, or restarting and throwing all of that work away. That's demotivating. That's hard. So instead, if you're really strapped for time, do quick little tests. Little things that, if it goes wrong, who cares? Tomorrow I'll do a new one and I'll improve. I'll figure out what I did wrong and I'll make it better. And in between those, like, do a lot of little tests, and in between those, maybe chip away at a slightly larger project. Nothing huge, but slightly larger. And just set a goal for yourself of, every day I'm going to do a little bit, just a little bit, or every other day, or every weekend. Set some time aside. And it's hard. Really, the big thing that it comes down to is dedication. You have to be dedicated to it. There will be days where I don't feel like learning this. I don't feel like sitting down and doing it. But if this is what you want to do, you're gonna have to do it. That's the only answer. It's just like, I'm learning ASL, American Sign Language, and there are days where it's like I had a long day. I don't feel like sitting down and trying to learn something new. I just want to lie down, watch a cartoon, and then go to sleep. But I make sure every night this is something I want to do. I really, really want to learn this. So I'm going to sit down and I'm going to apply myself. I'm not just going to watch a video and just zone out. I'm going to try to do like half an hour of something specific. Sometimes it's just trying to memorize signs. So, okay, I want to make sure, here's a list of signs. Do I remember what each one of them is? So, example, like father, mother. Like, you just do a whole list of all of these signs. And, okay, maybe a list of small, like, conversations. And see if I can remember how to speak it. It takes time, but it's something I really want to do. So I do it. And it's hard, but it has to it has to be done if you want to get better. So at the end of the day, no matter which technique you use, no matter what way you approach it, it's getting that dedication, practicing that dedication in there. That's going to be the hardest one.